What's up, gamers and collectors? DGC back with another video. It's been about 3 months since I've done any kind of content, let alone a pickups video. So it's kind of a lot of stuff, so don't judge me too hard. I kind of have a spending problem on video games. It is what it is. And this is actually just kind of part one of the 3 months worth of picking up stuff. PS3 and 360 stuff is going to be in the next video, just because of current market things that are going on with that. I figured it would be better to just kind of make that its own video. So this is going to be OG Xbox, PS4, PS5, Switch, and Switch 2, and some Amiibo. Let's check it out. Alright, so we'll jump into the Switch and Switch 2 real quick, just because it's the smallest stack. We got a game here in a franchise that I have never played, and that being Rhythm Heaven Groove. Still sealed, haven't even opened it yet. I'll get around to it eventually. This is a game that generally holds its value from this franchise. I wouldn't say that they're rare by any means or even uncommon, but that like people just hold on to them. So I wanted to make sure that I grabbed a copy of it while it was still like 60 bucks and get a nice, copy. So here we have that. Visually, it looks really cool. It's like a rhythm game, obviously. I've never played them, so I don't know. Sound off in the comments if it's a fun game. It looks kind of neat. I think that's from the people that typically do the Wario games for Nintendo, would be my assumption, because it's kind of the same art style. So that's who I assume developed that. Next up, we have two Switch 2 titles. These were kind of their big summer titles. And then, let's see, we got... this was probably my most hyped game for the Switch 2 so far. The Switch 2 has been very lukewarm for me thus far. I've had it since day one. I got, day one, and then I got Mario Kart physically, and then Donkey Kong came out shortly after, and I really loved that. I loved both of those. They were really good. Fast Racing Neo RMX, or whatever the hell the third game's called, was really good as well. Played that a crap ton too. And then there's been some small stuff that's come out for the Switch 2. These are all the exclusives here: Pokemon, Metroid, that kind of stuff. Kirby. Again, all really good games, but for me, Star Fox was really just that, like, I was waiting for that one game that was just like, yeah, it was worth it to get the Switch 2. Yeah, it was worth it to get the Switch 2. $59.99 is the price tag of this. People were bitching about the price. If you're looking at Star Fox and you're bitching about the price, you're not the target audience for this game. This is the best that the game has ever looked. It's the best that it's ever played. This is now technically the fourth time that this story has been remade, because it was the Super, then the N64 was based on the Super, then the 3DS one was based off the 64 one, Star Fox Zero on the Wii U was based off of essentially the 64 one, which is based off the Super Nintendo one, so this is a remake of technically the N64 one. Maybe they even designed it out of the 3DS one, we'll never know probably, but regardless, this is essentially the fourth time they've done this game. I'm not even mad about it. Nintendo could do it again next generation, and I'd still buy it for $69.99. Nintendo is really the only company that can do shit like that, in my opinion, and I will keep buying it and keep playing it. I've already played through this 4 times, which you could beat the game in about 40 minutes. It's not like that's hard to do, but it's absolutely wonderful. Frame rate's rock solid. Visuals are rock solid. The added cutscenes are amazing. The extra little bit of story that they add with the father at the beginning, it's like a prequel mission, kind of sets the groundwork for the story and your motivation for going on to fight Andross and that kind of shit. It's really well done. For me, it's worth every penny of the $59.99. Here's a game for the Switch 2 that I was also pretty excited for. I've been a Splatoon fan, Splatoon Raiders, since day one on the Wii U. Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3, loved them, played the hell out of them. They were probably some of the most hours spent on a multiplayer game for me over the last 10 years or so is with Splatoon, the franchise. So I love Splatoon, like a shit ton. Splatoon Raiders, more of a single player game. You can do co-op and stuff, but it's mainly a single player game. I was excited for it. It's different, similar but different. The one thing so far that I could say that I don't necessarily like is, and this is a small gripe, but maybe I'm not the only one that thinks this, the gameplay is, it's regular Splatoon gameplay, so that's fine. The graphics are kind of mediocre in my opinion. I feel like this was a Switch 1 title that they just ported over to Switch 2 and said, fuck it, send it. We've already sold 25 million units. Enough people will buy this and we'll make our money back, because the graphics are really not that impressive. The thing that bothers me the most, though, is when you're playing the game, the levels are very linear, which is fine. I like a nice linear single-player game where you go in, you play one mission, and you're done. And you go to the next mission, whatever. They're very vacant. They're very bland. There's just nothing there. It's very just like cubes and islands and floating cubes, and there's some palm trees and this and that. Maybe you might walk through like a canyon. It just feels very bland. It feels like the levels are very bland and not well designed. It could get better in the game. I don't know. There might be lava levels. There might be snow levels. There might be sky levels. I have no idea. I haven't gotten that far. I kind of doubt it. But it would be cool if there was. Maybe that'll be in Splatoon Raiders 2. I don't know. But as of right now, Splatoon Raiders 1, I'd give it like a solid... I'd give it a solid like 6.8 to maybe a 7.2. It's somewhere in that range. Like it's a good game. It's a passable game. It's a playable game. But I wouldn't go out of your way to go buy it. Like if you find it for $30 like a year from now, then I'd get it. But Star Fox, $60 all day. All right. I rarely pick up OG Xbox games anymore because I basically have half the library down here. I pretty much have everything that you mostly would want. But there's still probably, there's 4 games here. These are not expensive, but they're more in the middle up to upper echelon of pricing on OG Xbox games. So I've kind of just waited on getting these. The reason I'm jumping into the Xbox collecting again is I foresee the Xbox 5, Helix, whatever they're going to call it, they're going to add more backwards compatibility. That's going to raise the prices up on these games. There's going to be more demand, thus shrinking the supply, thus causing the prices to raise. So if you're a fan of the channel and you're watching, you're obviously an OG Xbox enthusiast, because that's mostly what the channel was kind of built on. You need to be collecting OG Xbox. I'm calling it now, like sometime within the next like 24 to 36 months. If they do what I think they're going to do, which I think they're just going to straight up make an emulator for the Xbox Helix that is an Xbox original. That's it. I'm not a trademark expert, but I think since Microsoft owns the Xbox, they could make an emulator for their new Xbox that functions as an original Xbox, and then that would skirt the laws of being able to play the Matrix without the license and Need for Speed and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Because they're just adding a emulator to the console, and then it just plays your disc. So I think that's kind of what I'm thinking they're going to try to do. And then presumably for 360, obviously, and then Xbox One series, and then the new system are all just Blu-ray discs that all essentially function the same anyway. x86 architecture, yada, yada, yada. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to do a full-on emulator for the OG Xbox and the 360. It's going to be baked in. At the very least, every game will probably support 1080p for OG Xbox games, and then probably 4K maybe for 360 games. At least 1080p for 360 games. They'll probably try to add in auto HDR, maybe add in like 16 anisotropic filtering, or however the hell you say that, where it's basically anti-aliasing to make them less jaggy and that kind of shit. That's what I foresee happening. So with that being said, you're going to start seeing more OG Xbox stuff being added to the collection. I would say there's probably somewhere in the ballpark of 30 games or less that I still really just want to add to the collection. So it's really not that many. And then I'd be kind of finally done with collecting for the OG Xbox, which has been quite the journey throughout the channel's history, and then just really through my life. I've never sold any Xbox games, duplicates and stuff, but I've never like purchased one copy and then gotten rid of it. Like, it's always remained in the collection. So some of these games I've literally had for like 20, 25 years, which is kind of cool. I mean, really a lot of this stuff I've had for 20, 25 years, even 30 years. Some of these Super Nintendo games I've owned them I was 4 years old when I got the first couple, so 33 years ago, which is wild to think about. But that's a story or a video for another video. The Punisher for the OG Xbox. This is also on the PS2. There was a lot of new stuff with the Punisher. I think he's in the new Spider-Man movie. I think they did one more season with the show. They're probably going to do a movie. I could foresee this going up at some point. Obviously, it's not what's his name from The Walking Dead, the current Punisher guy, but it's still the Punisher. So if and this is just a running thing, like if a movie gets announced, that game from way back when skyrockets in value. It just happens every single time. So the Punisher, I kind of foresee that happening, just with the way Marvel's been pumping out stuff, and then they put him in the movie. They're probably going to make his own movie. It's kind of inevitable. Speaking of Marvel, here's another one, Blade 2. This is also on the PS2, possibly GameCube. The reason I got this, again, I've wanted to play it because to me it looks cool. I watch reviews for most of these retro things to see if it's something I actually want to own. The controls in this game are apparently very hit or miss. You either really like them or you really don't. The way it works is you walk around with the left stick, and then your right stick is your fighting stick. So you hack and slash with that and that kind of shit. So it's very primitive, very much N64 controlling. Tank controls, I guess is what you would call that. The camera kind of just follows Blade behind his back. But, for me it looks kind of cool. It plays through like a lot of, you go to like the club scene and this and that, and there's like, obviously you're fighting vampires and shit. The level design looks really cool. It just looks like a really solid game. The Punisher is roughly like a $40 game. This is roughly, at least currently, like a $20 to $30 game. Not rare by any means, but that's on the upper echelon of Xbox collecting, because OG Xbox collecting is still so cheap and affordable. To me, that's why I love it, collecting for it so much, because you go into the store and you're just like, oh, those are some sweet games, and they're actually affordable. This one is getting kind of up there in price. This is like a $30 to $50 title depending on condition, and that being RoboCop. And again, I try not to mention pricing, but like I just feel as if the Xbox is going to start going up in price in the near future. Like I said, maybe 24 to 36 months, like after the Helix is out, and if I'm right about the backwards compatibility, and it kind of looks like that's going to happen, because now they're adding back compat via emulation to the PC, so that's why I think they're just going to do it for everything. They're probably testing it more so on the PC, because PCs are generally more powerful than consoles, so they're kind of running it on a variety of hardware to see how it handles and this and that, and they're probably collecting anonymous data, and then that's how they're going to build their emulator, probably with the help of Copilot AI would be. Again, this is just my assumption as to what's going to happen. But RoboCop, again, kind of another movie-based game. This is made by like some really good developers. The people that made this have made some really cool stuff. I'm drawing a blank on it, but like in more recent memories of cool stuff. I want to say it was maybe the Deus Ex team, but that's IDOS that made that, and this is Titus. So I don't know. Correct me in the comments if you happen to know. But RoboCop, this is I don't know. It says it's like it's a collector's edition that has making of the game artwork stills. I guess I didn't get those in here, maybe, or maybe it's on the disc. I don't really know, or maybe it's in the manual. I'm not sure. Either way, it's complete enough for me. It's got the manual and the game, so good enough for me. Here is an expensive one. This is something that I've been kind of eyeing up for years, and I never see it in stores. And then I finally was just like, dude, if you want that game, you're going to have to get it soon, because there's just not a lot of copies on eBay. This is on every console, GameCube, PS2, OG Xbox, and that being Auto Modellista for the OG Xbox. This is not a 480p game, so I guess all versions probably look relatively similar, 480i. However, I'd be willing to bet that this has a better, more consistent frame rate, just because the OG Xbox was so much more powerful than the GameCube and PS2. Regardless, I remember seeing this when this came out way back in like 05 or whenever it came out. It was a later title, it looks like 03, 2003. So it was, I guess, middle of the generation when this came out. But I remember seeing this with the cel shaded graphics, and that was really when like Fast and Furious was really kind of big. I was like a teenager getting into cars and that kind of stuff, and I remember really wanting this, and I just, for whatever reason, I never bought it. And then eventually, at the end of the Xbox Live, it got expensive, and it's been expensive for a long time. This is about a $100 game. I did get a slight deal on it, not the greatest, but still a little bit of a deal. Nice CIB copy. This, coincidentally, I was most recently playing Metal Arms Glitch in the System and re-enjoying this. This is one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. I've never played the Xbox version. I bought this copy this year, and my original copy was for the GameCube, and I wanted to just try it on the Xbox and play through it. I got this in the mail. I'm playing Metal Arms. I think this arrived on a Saturday, and I was like, shit, dog, I'm gonna play me some Automodelista. Save Metal Arms, take the disc out, put this in. It kills the fucking disc drive. So I guess the disc drive was just on its last legs. So I open the Xbox up, crack it open, clean the laser real good, lube up the rails and everything. The rubber band's still good. It's not cracked or anything. So I'm like, all right, that's probably fine. Really just take it apart, bring home my ohm meter from work. I re-ohm out the pots and everything, get it perfectly dialed into the specs that I found on the internet. I forget what it was. And then it worked again for like 2 more days and then just... So currently without an OG Xbox, if you're wondering why there has been such a lack of OG Xbox content for a little while, that's why. For me to get a new disk drive for it, to get one that's either recapped or just even like a shitty one, you're talking $85 minimum to $140 for a new DVD drive. Could I just put them in my 360 and record the gameplay that way? Yes. But I like to try to be authentic with the channel and do it on the actual hardware and yada yada yada. So if anybody has an OG Xbox that's lying around or a DVD drive that they want to send into the channel, hit your boy up, because I would love that. Because I'm kind of just like not wanting to buy that, because I've currently just been buying games, trying to get stuff before, you know, stuff keeps just going up in prices, which I'm kind of also contributing to the prices by buying stuff because of the prices, thus causing the prices to go up. So it's just a never-ending cycle with collecting. But so happy to add that one to the collection finally after like 20 years. There's some more 360 or Xbox stuff that I want to get throughout the next coming year or so. We got 2 Splatoon amiibos, and then we got the third, the big man. I'm going to open these at some point. They've kind of just been chilling here on the table waiting for the pickups video, and I haven't opened it. I don't remember if I showed King DDD in the last one, but the King DDD Kirby Air Riders amiibo, he has already been living on the shelf with his companions there. Stop for a little drink. Alright, next up we got a fat stack of PS4 stuff. So some really cool stuff in here. Some heavy hitters, some things that not a lot of people are talking about that I do believe you should be collecting for your PS4 collection if you're going for like a nice PS4 collection. Right now people are focusing on PS3. And in the next pickups video, whenever that's going to be, probably maybe 2 weeks from now, I don't want to do pickup video. I want to actually start adding in more variety to the channel. And that's something we'll talk about at the later end of this video. But people are FOMOing into the PS3. Now is not the time to be buying PS3 games. If you've been following and subscribed to the channel, you know that I've been picking them up all year. However, there's no way that I knew the Blu-rays were going to be discontinued in 2028. 2026 was just the year of me collecting the PS3 and building the collection up. It was convenient. It's sheer dumb luck that I did that, and I essentially got everything I wanted for the collection before they went up in price. I even have a sealed Magus. I've got Puppeteer. I've got Folklore. I've got Godfather. I've got all that shit, and I paid sub $100 for all of it. So, Puppeteer I paid like 30 or 40. It's on the channel in one of the earlier pickups videos this year. So like super lucky that that happened. They're never going to leave the collection anyway. Again, if you've been subscribed long enough, the channel's 10 years in September, which there is some 10-year anniversary content coming, which I'm very excited for. You'll know that I pretty much had most of this stuff, and then I sold it off like a fucking retard. So I had to go back and rebuild the collection. And this year was PS3 collecting, and I'm just about done getting back essentially all the exclusives, because that's just kind of the guy I am. I like the exclusives. There's some other stuff in here. Like I like playing RPGs on the Sony console because it just kind of makes it's like peanut butter and jelly. JRPGs just make sense on the PlayStation console. They just do. Fighting games just kind of make sense on the PlayStation console. And I also have the Taito VLX Hori arcade stick, which is PS3, PS4 compatible. So I love using that. That's the massive one. That thing is heavy. It's like this wide. I did I'll try to get a picture of it. I did custom buttons on it. They're all blue and everything to go with like the Sony. It's like see-through blue and everything to like go with the PlayStation being, you know, blue or whatever with their logo. But well, actually, yeah, it's essentially this blue is what it is. So it's a black and blue arcade stick, and I love using that for fighting games and shoot 'em ups and, you know, stuff like if it's like a top-down RPG, you can obviously use that and you don't have camera controls. Into some of these games. So this was sealed, and you know me, I open my games, because sealed games are, say it with me, fucking lame. fucking lame. Sealed games, graded games, fucking lame. They're meant to be open. They're meant to be played. Now, if it's your favorite game, by all means, get that thing graded, frame it, whatever. But like owning multiple 10, 20, 30, 40 sealed games, it's just fucking lame. I'm sorry, but it is. And if you're mad, this is probably not the channel for you. This is about collecting and playing games. Here's a cool one here. This, like I said, this was sealed. This is something not a lot of people are talking about picking up for collecting's sake, but this is a PlayStation brand exclusive. It was on the PS3 and Vita digitally, and physically you can only get it on the PS4, and that being Helldivers 1. This is kind of well known to be an uncommon game. When this came out, this was like a lesser known franchise, kind of almost even an indie game that Sony obviously owns with Housemarque. Was it Housemarque? Oh no, it's Arrowhead. I'm sorry. But yeah, so you know, it's kind of a top-down, basically twin stick shooter, basically. And but yeah, I really wanted to add this to the collection. I've played it quite a few times, but I've never had a physical copy. This is like the Super Earth Edition, which comes with like all the DLC and all that stuff. A non-sealed copy, generally about $50. The sealed copy was a little more, but I just wanted to make sure that I got like a really good copy, and it was actually a pretty good price. It wasn't too much more for that copy. Now here's one that has shot up a lot in recent days. Gravity Rush 2. I actually paid less for this than I did for Gravity Rush 1. Gravity Rush 1 I picked up about a year ago when I left my last job. I remember it was like the last week that I was working at a specific place in Owings Mills, and which is very far from my house. I was driving an hour in the morning and an hour and a half at night. Oh, that fucking killed me. Their GameStop there was not the best, but you know, I went in one of the, like the last week or two that I was working at that job, just one day at lunch, because it was just, you know, when you leave a job, it's real awkward, and I wanted to get out of my work environment, and so I just went and grabbed lunch next door to the GameStop, and then went into the GameStop. Found Gravity Rush 1 there for $60. It's back in one of the pickups videos like last September. But Gravity Rush 2, I picked this up like 2 or 3 weeks ago for $50 when it was already going for $150. I caught somebody slipping for once. I got this for $50, and I'm super excited about that. This was one of the last like big exclusives for the PS4 that I really wanted to get, and I've been looking for it for ages. I've known about it for ages, obviously, but I never found it at a reasonable price. And actually, there's still a sticker here for $50 on the game there. So really happy to have grabbed that for $50 for sure. I actually really do kind of want to jump in and play those games at some point. Here's a really cool one. This is on the PS4 and the Switch. The Switch version did get an American release, if I'm not mistaken. However, this is a Japanese import for the PS4 only. However, fully region-free, and this game plays in full English as soon as you put it in. And that being the Capcom Belt Action Collection. This is 7 of the beat-em-ups from back in the day from Capcom. Final Fight, King of Dragons, Knights of the Round, Powered Gears, Battle Circuit, I don't know what that one is, and Captain Commando. I've already played through a good bit of Captain Commando and Final Fight again, and had kind of some good fun with that. Played a little bit of Battle Circuit and Powered Gear. Those were super fun. I've just really been in like a beat 'em up mood lately, so like I had to grab this, and then again, it's just, what's cool is you put this in, it downloads off the disc. No actual downloads. The games, I mean, they're 35 years old games, but like fully downloads off the disc. There's no internet downloads needed for this game, which is just, it was kind of cool because you don't really ever see that on the PS4 often. Here's these next 3 games that I did own brand new day one back in the day. Transformer Devastation, great game here. Loved this when it came out. Sold it like an idiot. Had to rebuy it. I think I paid like $65 or $70 for this recently, so again, not cheap, but I knew I had to grab it before it keeps going up in price. Here's another one here. This is Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. I did have this day one as well, and I did beat this as well as Devastation way back in the day. Loved both of them. This is made by the Yakuza team. This is kind of one of their many spin-offs that they've done. Usually they kind of do like a Yakuza spin-off, and this is fully Yakuza with a Fist of the North Star skin on it. It is its own map though, which is cool because Yakuza is always typically like one map. of the city, but then this is like its own map, and then there's drivable sections and this and that, and it's, if you like Fist of the North Star, you're gonna love this game. This is kind of creeping up in value. There is also a greatest hits version. I sought out the blue version because I don't like the red because it just looks weird next to all the other blue cases. For the life of me, like, I get why they do that kind of, but I kind of also hate it because it's like you could just make the insert different. You don't have to make the case different. Like, the case is what bothers me when it sticks out like that. That's what I hate. I don't really care about the insert being different. It's the case. I want them all to be symmetrical and look the same, you know, for me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. This is a controversial game. People either really love it or really hate it. I fall into the camp of really loving it. I pretty much really have liked every Ninja Turtles game that's ever come out because I'm a Turtles nut. I love Ninja Turtles. That was my show when I was a kid, man. I had these, they were my sister's pajamas. She's a couple years older than me, and then they were like hand-me-downs to me. I want to say it was Raphael pajamas. I can't remember. But I wore them bitches out. I wore them every day till I was like, you know, from like 2 to 5. I wore them pajamas every day as long as I could, man. I was a Ninja Turtles kid for sure back in the day. I love me some Ninja Turtles. Mikey's actually my favorite, but I mean, I like all 4 of them, but Mikey's probably my favorite. Then we got Metal Gear Solid 4 or 5 here. Now, this is the definitive experience, which is here. This is one of the ones that I was kind of hinting at that is something that should be on your priority list to collect. This is Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain, number 5, all on one disc. All the DLC, well, not DLC, but the add-on, updates and that kind of stuff are all here. It's actually on the disc. This is actually a complete disc version of both games. This is something you should be looking out for. I haven't really seen anybody touch on this or talk about this. I've known about this one for about 6 months. I didn't even know this was a thing, that this got like a double release into one thing. This is kind of uncommon with this version. There is also a greatest hits version, which is slightly more common, but these are kind of starting to dry up. This is like a $40 game, so it's not expensive, but they are starting to dry up if you want to get like a nice black label copy, and I would grab that while you can. These next 2 are 2 digital only games that Limited Run made copies of, and one of these I played the absolute hell of, and that being Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I've always wanted this physically. I love this. This is probably my favorite, second favorite Far Cry, next to the first one on the Xbox original, and then Far Cry Instinct's Predator on the 360. I kind of count those as one because they're kind of a continuation story. So really, Far Cry Instinct's Predator on the 360, which has the first game and the second game on it, which is different than the first game for the PC. The early onslaught of Far Cry was such a weird nightmare with Crytek and Ubisoft, and then I think it went to Ubisoft Montreal, is who now does the Far Cry. It's a whole thing. But Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is very... it was a wonderful experience because it's very short. You can beat this pretty quickly. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I love the 80s with the neon and the music and just the atmosphere of it, and then just like it felt very 80s action movie, which is what they were going for, and that's what it felt like. I remember not being able to put this down. I played it on Steam when it came out, and because I knew that there was no physical copy back then, so I was like, I'll just get it on Steam. This is, is this 4K? It is PS4 Pro Enhanced, so it may have stretched 4K. I don't know. I haven't actually put this in to replay it yet. It's funny? The year is 2007, and the future is here, is what it says on the top. So that's funny. But it has like a very 80s aesthetic to it, which is what they went for with the game there. Now here's one JRPG. I think this originally came out on the PSP, and then Square Enix finally remade it digitally on the PS3 and then the PS4, and then it eventually came out, and that being Star Ocean First Departure R. I love getting JRPGs physically. There's basically this entire side from here over is JRPGs for PS5, pretty much all Square Enix. And then up top I got, a lot of RPGs spread out through here, PS3, PS4, PS5. happy to add this. This has been in my PSN cart for ages on the PS3. I just never pulled the trigger on it, and then they finally released a physical copy. So super happy to add this to the collection, and now I can finally play it after all this time. All right, next up we have a healthy stack of PS5 stuff here. We will do those two last, and those, and probably that one last too. So a lot of shoot 'em ups in here, but we'll go over this one first. This is one that I actually recently put in and started actually playing, and I need to, commit to it and actually finish the game. As a Super Nintendo kid, the thing, the real console war. All the console wars now they're bullshit. Okay, they are. The real console war was, NES versus the Master System to a lesser extent, really, because it was really the NES just dominated that back then. But like SNES versus Genesis, that was kind of the real actual console war. And the reason you can say that like definitively is because of the TV commercials, the magazine ads. There really was like Sega and Nintendo were kind of like going back and forth and like making fun of each other in a playful way. And they really, they did that. And then to a larger extent, that shifted in the next generation where Sony, with the Crash Bandicoot commercials, would make fun of Mario, and they'd stand outside of the Nintendo headquarters and this and that. And I don't know that Nintendo, I was a little young then, but I don't know if Nintendo really made fun of Sony. But I know Sony would, they did it in a playful way, but they would like make fun of Nintendo and Mario and this and that. So there was, again, still the console war there. And the console war really, it kind of died out during the Xbox PS2 era. And then maybe a little bit into the 360 PS3 era. Like, I can still definitively remember at E3s, because I've watched every E3 since I can remember. I remember like Halo Killer was like a big thing during going into the PS3 era. They had your kill zones, you had your haze, you had your time shift. You had a lot of games that were being the Halo Killer, and that was still kind of like this is PS3 versus 360 and that kind of thing. So, but back in the 90s, during the Super versus Genesis era, I remember kids having Shinobis and Golden Axe, Altered Beast, Streets of Rage. Those were like the real big Sega Genesis like cool titles, And I remember really just thinking how cool Shinobi was back in the day, because like I never had anything like that on the Super Nintendo, and I was like, oh, fucking ninjas and shit, that's fucking cool. But Shinobi 4, this finally came out. This is from the people that did the most recent Wonder Boy game. Same art design, same art style. It really plays well to both of those game styles. I don't know if that's just because it's like a nostalgic thing where they're like old school 2D sprite-based games, but it just, the art style on Wonder Boy, which I need to get that physically again as well. I did have that. And then Shinobi, it just looks wonderful. Like when you put this in and you get to the beginning stage, you get like a little cutscene, and then you're kind of like at this little farmhouse, and then you go through like this like flower field. It's like a farm with like flowers and stuff. It's very Japan. It's in Japan, obviously, but it's a very Japan-esque looking farm and that kind of stuff. Then you work your way into a jungle, and then you work your way into like a city. I'm probably maybe 3 or 4 hours in, probably 3 hours, I would say. But it's a really wonderfully done game. It's the controls are very tight. The graphics are really good. The music's really good. The boss fights are like just hard enough to where you're like, but then you like, you beat the boss after like the 8th or 10th time, and you're like, oh my god, I did it. It's a really good game. Like out of all these games, like this is definitely one of the ones where I'm like, you really got to pick this one up. With that being said, these next two, this is the Toa Plan Collection, Toa Plan Arcade Collection Volume 1 and Volume 2. So again with the 80s, neon styling here. This one's got a purple. This one's got kind of like a pinkish orange color to it. These are, so Toa Plan is like they're kind of like one of the big shoot 'em up like developers from back in the day. These are all essentially the great Genesis shoot 'em ups. Tiger Heli, Flying Shark, Twin Cobra, Fire Shark, Outzone, Fix 8, Doggy Un, I don't even know how to say that one, Batsugan, Slap Fight, Truxton, Hellfire, Twin Hawks, Zero Wing, Vimana, Truxton 2, and Grindstormer. So between these two games, at least when I bought these from VGP, and they still have them in stock, they were like 25 or $30, somewhere in that range. Very affordable. To get 16 critically acclaimed shoot 'em ups on the discs, and there's no downloads. These are just straight up ripped off the disc. These are fully on the disc. These are also, I believe, available on the Switch 2 or Switch 1, one of the two. No Xbox, I don't think, because nobody plays Xbox. Next gen, though, we might. Xbox might save us next gen. But during this gen, Sony's still kind of reigning supreme with their physical media. But Toa Plan Volume 1 and 2, really good. I've played through these, and I've played all the games at least once. I did that the other day and kind of enjoyed that. They're really fun, really solid shoot-'em-ups. A lot of these were the first times I ever got to play these, because some of those games, boy howdy, to buy all those games complete in box for the Genesis, I think some of these might be arcade games too, but a lot of them are on the Genesis. To buy all these complete in box Genesis, you're talking probably $4,000. A lot of that, just like the Truxton games alone, I think are like $500 or $600 a piece, which is just crazy. So the rest of this is all shoot 'em ups as well. Well, for right now, that other stack's not. Truxton Extreme. So again, with the Truxton here, this is from the same people, Clear River Games. This is a new game. This is Truxton's newest game. This just came out in August, at the beginning of August. PS5, Switch 2, PS5 and $40, Switch 2 $50. Xbox is coming out in September. I don't know why it got delayed, but also $40. Really solid game. I streamed this. This game is hard as nails, and I don't know if that's like how the old Truxtons were. Like, I don't actually know, because I haven't played them enough to know. I did try them all though. But this game, visually really good looking for a shoot 'em up, but tough as nails, just really hard. I think digitally that came out like over a year ago. Let's see here. This is a game that I've been following on Twitter for a very long time, years at this point. And I could not wait to finally play it, and then they finally came out with the PS5 copy, and that being Wings of Blue Star. This is a really great shoot 'em up. This is, again, something I'm really going to just highly recommend on the channel. This is one dude that he did everything. He did the graphics, the game design, the AI. He did all of it, everything. One dude. I watched him on Twitter, and it's a wonderful game. You play as this little girl, and she's in this ship. Well, she's not like a little girl. She's like an adult. I don't know, but you play as this girl. She's in a ship, and you're doing your shoot 'em up thing. The art style to the game is phenomenal. It's very unique to it's kind of its own thing. In the levels, though, what's cool is he kind of added like platformer collectibles. Like, they're obviously floating in space, and you collect them. They're kind of like a stamp or a puzzle, I guess you could say, and you collect multiple pieces throughout the level. So it kind of gives some really good replay value, additional replay value, where shoot 'em ups always have good replay value, but this has like even more, because it's got collectibles in it, which is kind of cool. I've never really seen that in all the shmups that I've played over the years, for that to be like a thing where you like progressively get different collectibles through the level. So I thought that was really unique and very cool. Here's one, Happy Console Gamer. I'm a big fan of him. I do trust his opinion on games and reviews and stuff, like above all else. And then like ACG, those are the two channels, like if they did a review on it, I watch them, because I know those are two nerds that play games and like really give an honest opinion on a game. Macross Shooting Insight. I know that Happy Console Gamer is like such a huge Macross guy. He said he was kind of iffy on this game, so I'm kind of iffy on it, but I bought it because I was like, I don't know, it looks kind of dope, so I want to try it. And I love mech games, and so hopefully it's good. I don't know. We'll find out if I enjoy it. Next up, we got two shoot 'em ups that I did used to own. This one is one of my favorite ones of all time, and then this one I also really do enjoy. This is Steriden Binary Stars. This has like kind of like a 32-bit art style to it, which is really cool. It comes with a nice little poster in here and everything. This has some of the better music I've heard in a shoot 'em up. I love the music in this game. It's really bumping and really good. Love that one. Not too difficult of a shoot 'em up. Now here's one. This was originally Dreamcast, Japan. Then we got it on PS3 here, but it's very rare on the PS3. And then ultimately, I'd rather just own the PS4 or PS5 copy, because it's going to be slightly better in 4K or whatever. Under Defeat. This is, again, Clear River Games. They must be doing a lot of shoot 'em ups. I feel like that's a newer company that's releasing these shoot 'em ups, and they're doing a great job, because they've been releasing some serious bangers here. So Under Defeat, grabbed this. Pretty much all this came from VGP up there in Canada. They do a great job shipping stuff out really fast and everything and whatnot. But Under Defeat, this is probably one of my favorite shoot 'em ups. That is a video that I plan on doing for the 10th anniversary of one of the many videos I plan on doing for the 10th anniversary of the channel. I want to do a top 10 shoot 'em up video just because I feel like I've done enough shoot 'em up content in the past to where some of my subscribers probably enjoy shoot 'em ups, I would imagine. So next up here we've got some more modern PS5 titles. These two, this one I've also been following this guy on Twitter for years, and I've just been really, I don't know if this is just one guy, I think this was probably a team, but this is Ruffy and the Riverside for the PS5. It's on pretty much everything. It's a 3D platformer, but everything's like a sheet of paper almost. And I don't know, he's just really cute, and I really enjoy him as a character. And I love platformers. Again, as a Nintendo kid, I love platformers. They're my favorite genre. We don't really get them often anymore. So I really kind of have to just savor this game. So I haven't even played it yet. I think I may wait till my birthday to just really sink into this and just play it a good bit and really enjoy it. I've still been playing Yuka Replayly. I need to beat that. I'm 3 or so worlds into that, and I've been trying to kind of get all the trying to get all the collectibles, but that's easier said than done. But Ruffy and the Riverside, definitely a really cool game. Happy to add this to the collection finally, and I cannot wait to play them. Now, this is another platformer for the PS5, and then I think this is on everything. This really kind of has a Dreamcast-y Sega vibe to it, late Sega kind of vibe to it. I feel like this is something that Sega would have made, or maybe this is from... Actually, you know what? I think this is from the people that made Sonic Mania, if I'm not mistaken. And that being Penny's Big Breakaway, which is... It just really has a very Sega vibe to it. And if I am correct that this was from the Sonic Mania team, which I think it was, that makes sense, because they're huge Sonic nuts. This looks really enticing and really cute and charming to play, and she has a yo-yo, and you kind of use that to traverse the levels and stuff. It's almost, I don't want to say a speedrunner game, but I bet you I'm not into that, but I bet you this is probably a game that people maybe speedrun. I feel like it looks like one of those kind of games where people would be into that on that. Now here's one. This is kind of controversial on the PC version. This was a Sony published game for the PS5, being Marvel's Tokon Fighting Souls. I'm not a big fighting game guy. I enjoy them casually. I like a good fighting game. I like occasionally playing them and enjoying them. I'm not one to really clock in and figure out all the frame timing and all that. Yeah, that's cool that people are into that. I just like to casually play fighting games. I'm more of a Smash Bros. Casual kind of guy, although even people don't play that casually anymore either. That's a whole thing where people are, yeah, whole nother topic. But, so, Marvel's Tokon, this was controversial because on the PC, I think if you play it on your normal computer, it plays fine, but then if the Steam machine runs like butt, apparently, and then the Steam handheld runs like butt, you would think that they would have wanted this to run really rock solid at launch for everything. And you would think that they would have tried to... Steam Machine is new, but I'm sure that that's sold at least 1 or 2 million units by now. It had to have. And then the Steam handheld, whatever the Steam handheld's called, I don't even know. I know that's sold many millions of units. You would think that they would have been hey, we should probably optimize it for that. You would think that they would have done that, but they didn't. And then subsequently this got horribly review bombed on... Steam because of it. So, and then the Steam player count is just abysmal for this game right now. So hopefully it does well on the PlayStation side of things, which I assume it is. I've seen a lot of people still tweeting about it and talking about it. So I think it did well enough. We'll see. Hopefully they can start adding characters and stuff and maybe stages at a regular pace. Arc System Works is, they're kind of the gold standard of fighting games. So I assume, we won't have a lack of content for that game in the near future. Last 2 games here. These are 2 games that I plan on beating before the end of the year. Ooh, sorry. Had some tacos, and now we're having a blueberry truly here. A little bit of burping action going on here, or indigestion, I mean. Beast of Reincarnation. So again, kind of a controversial launch with this one. This is on Game Pass already day 1, and then it came to Steam, and then obviously PS5. No Switch version, no Switch 2 version. Seems very, very peculiar to me. If anyone would have had a Switch 2 dev kit for a long time, it would have been Game Freak, because they're essentially a first-party studio. I mean, they're a second-party studio, but they've basically been a first-party studio for 30 years. So if anyone has had a dev kit for multiple years now, it's definitely Game Freak. So I question why they have not put this onto the Switch 2. I question why Nintendo allowed this to not become a Switch 2 exclusive. I question that for sure. Like, there's no way in my mind that Nintendo didn't know that one of their main partners was making a new cool game. There's just no doubt in my mind. Like, imagine if this had been a Switch 2 exclusive. It probably would have sold way better. People would have been way more hyped for it. People would have been way more forgiving if it was a Switch 2 exclusive. That's no doubt in my mind about that. What I've played so far of it, I enjoyed it so far. It's definitely... I just finished Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, what I've played so far, I like it. The intro cutscene, very short, very quick. You jump into the gameplay really quick. It doesn't really explain any of the story. You just kind of, there's like, you're walking in like a AT-AT kind of thing with a girl, the dog, and then the main character. And then you just kind of get out and you start traversing up this giant fucking mountain, right? This takes place in the year 4026 in Japan. So maybe it's Mount Fuji, I don't even know. I'm probably going to restart the game so that I can get like a fresh and just continue it through one playthrough. But you're like traversing up this giant mountain. You can't even see the top of it. Like, even if you look up, like, it just keeps going. And it's just really cool. It's a very cool intro to the game. You're running up this mountain. You're fighting shit as you go up the mountain and everything. The graphics in the game, at least on the PS5 Pro, they look fucking phenomenal. It runs great. It runs buttery smooth. It looks phenomenal. The controls feel real tight. I'm not a Souls guy. I don't like Souls games. I'm not even afraid to admit it. It's because I fucking suck at them. So I'm not going to play a game that I suck at and don't enjoy, because I don't have time for that. I want to play shit I want to enjoy. This plays very fun and very good, at least what I've played. It's not hard. It's not difficult. And it's not, brutal Souls difficulty. For me, on a side note, I don't understand why people are into that. Like, why would you want to play a game that's just, like, brutally hard? And then, like, where you just get massacred, and then, I don't know, I guess it's the triumph over defeating a hard boss. I don't know. Like, I would not want to fight a boss 40, 50 times just to get through that boss fight. That does not sound entertaining to me. Like, I want to play the game, maybe do it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and then figure out the pattern of the boss and then get past it. But I don't want to do that for every single boss for, 20, 30, 40 tries to get past each boss. That just does not sound fun for me personally. Back to Beast of Reincarnation. This is actually kind of an uncommon title to pick up physically. As the day it came out, they were hard to find. Best Buy screwed the pooch. I ordered mine in April, pre-ordered it, fully paid for it. They didn't even ship it the day that it came out. It said it was shipped. Go to the store. It's not there. They have no idea what I'm talking about. They didn't get any copies at all. I live in the capital of Maryland. The Best Buy that I go to is in the capital of Maryland, and they didn't get any copies of this fucking game, which just seems ludicrous to me. Whatever, that's fine. So I as I'm driving home, I call Best Buy 1-800 number. I'm like, hey, what the fuck? Like, bro, 4 months ago I pre-ordered this. Y'all could have set aside a copy for me and shipped it to the store like I wanted you to. Oh, we have no idea what you're talking about. It should be there, and it's not there. I go to the store, it's not there. Call them again. It was a whole thing, and then eventually I had to cancel it, reorder it, and then they shipped one, and it showed up a week later. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world to get a game late, but it's like, dude, if I pre-ordered it 4 months ahead of time, like, it's because I want the fucking game on time, dude. That's why I pre-ordered it, because I want the fucking game. But nevertheless, I'm excited to give this game a shot for sure. And the last one here, again, this was something Happy Console Gamer had mentioned that he really enjoyed, so I'm looking forward to it because, again, I trust his opinion on games. The Adventures of Elliot the Millennium Tales. So, pretty excited to try this. It's basically a Zelda game. So it looks cool. It's got the Octopath Traveler art design, and it's Zelda meets Octopath Traveler is what it is pretty much. So this is something on my short list of stuff that I want to finish and play this year. That went on way longer than I anticipated. That was a lot of pickups because, again, it's been about 3 months since I did a pickups video, and there's actually another stack of PS3 360 stuff down here, and then more stuff coming in the mail. But I figured, like I said, that'll be its own video just because of current market things going on with the PS3 and 360. As I briefly mentioned in the video, the 10th anniversary of the channel is coming up in early September, so we're really only a couple weeks away. So I want to get some content kind of made and ready for that. So I'm actually pretty excited for that. I want to make some good content for the 10th anniversary because it's been 10 years of the channel. So I'm kind of excited for that. It's been a long journey. And we got some cool stuff. I've been writing down a bunch of video ideas of stuff that I want to do that I think you guys would enjoy, and it'll kind of, you know, just be some good, fun, quality content for the channel to have. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed what you saw here. If you have any thoughts or opinions on any of these games, or if you've picked any of these games up recently or played any of these things, or, you know, if you can think of any other rare PS4 games that we should all be collecting that are like not talked about kind of thing that I should be picking up, definitely let me know. The other thing that there's definitely probably about 20 more PS4 games I'd like to re-add to the collection. Then I'm kind of done with the PS4 as well. So I'm really kind of getting close to the end of that as well. And then next year, and hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully there's not some weird thing where the Wii starts becoming super collectible. But next year, as this year was year of the PS3, I already mentioned this many times throughout the year. Next year is going to be the year of rebuilding the Wii collection because as of right now, hopefully you can see my hand, this is the entire Wii collection that I have. That's unacceptable. You need to rebuild that back up. Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up. What is this? This is 10 games here. Those are rookie numbers. You can't be having no 10 Wii game collection. So next year, plan on rebuilding the Wii collection. I've kind of looked at all the different games throughout the list. There's roughly about 50 games for the Wii that I want, maybe 60. It's not, I mean, I guess that's kind of a lot, but not really, considering there's like 1,200 games for the Wii, so 50 or 60 games is not really that many. I feel like I can probably crush that within the year of 2027, because, well, I guess next year will be the last full year of PS5 physical games, which is weird to think about. Well, we're almost done with PS3, and then we're jumping into the Wii, so that's something to look forward to next year if you're into Wii stuff. So peace out for now, guys. Till next time.
Come here, you mother...